Hey everyone, welcome to Chords Records. My name's Katie. Well, today is a bit of an unusual one. It won't be for everyone, but I wanted to go through every single version of vinyl and CD and a couple of very special items of the latest Elton John and Brandi Carlile album. So I'm doing this video because some of my viewers may be interested to know what it's like when you decide to collect every single version of a single release. And that's what happened to me this year. I'm a huge Brandi Carlile fan. I have been for years. I love Americana. I love folk. Brandi Carlile is kind of my sweet spot of the kind of music I like. I absolutely adore Elton John. And I just thought this combination, I'm going to go about and collect every version when the new album, Who Believes in Angels, was announced and it was released this year on April 4th, 2025, if you're watching this in the future. So what is this album? I've done another video where I have actually reviewed it, and I was lucky enough to be in Australia at a very special early listening party before it was released through a kind of a fan club thing. I obviously love it. Elton himself has said it's possibly his best work since the 70s. Many Elton hardcore fans probably disagree with that, but nevertheless, it's a really great album. I'm going to talk a little bit about the quality of the vinyl, the CD pressings, and a few other bits and pieces throughout this video. So this is the standard issue. So it did not come in black vinyl. It came in 7 variations, which I'll go through one by one, but it didn't come out in black vinyl, except for one very special version, which I'll get to soon. But the standard issue was what they called tricolor. This was the standard issue hype sticker. You can see there, limited edition tricolor vinyl, although it was the standard edition. I don't know why they put that. So it was available on both the artists' websites in UK and US, and it was a gatefold. So that was the standard release. The actual inner sleeve of the standard release had this kind of all this design is David LaChapelle, who's an amazing pop artist, this very colorful vibe, dear friend of Elton John's. So you can see it's kind of almost a bit of a nod to Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. And then the vinyl, I've left everything in its place and not sleeved it just so you can see how it came. So this was the tricolor, what they called the tricolor vinyl, the tricolor pinwheel, I guess is what you'd call it. And then in the other side of the gatefold came a really fantastic booklet. Really, really well presented. Every single page has lyric information. It has tape information, when things were recorded. You can see an example there. And then a blurb about what the song was about. And this one's obviously The Rose of Laura Nyro, which was a nod to Laura Nyro, who Elton John was a very, very big fan of. So that was the standard issue, the tricolor vinyl. And then we get to the purple issue. So this was a limited edition. Well, it really was a limited edition. It was also available on the US and Europe website, but totally different design. So you can see the gatefold opened up like that. All very camp in its kind of presentation, all gloss presentation. And this one had a different inner sleeve presentation, and this one was purple, a purple vinyl. Purple marble, they call that one. The same booklet, however, was included in this one. Slightly different printing on the, this one came with a signed art card by Elton. He's now signing it EX. And then the same amazing booklet inside, but the cover was different. Many of the purple vinyls were signed by Elton. I've got Elton and Brandi versions of that. So this is the Brandi signature there. So that was the purple one. And then we have the pink spiral. So a lot of bands these days are putting out versions, or record labels are putting out versions that are exclusive to indie record stores, and this was no exception. And this one was the same presentation, but this is what they call neon pink or pink spiral vinyl. And I'll just show you the hype sticker. So that was indie, oops, hang on, sorry. Indie Records, indie record shop. Sorry, I can't get close enough to my camera. There we go. All right, and then we have what this was, we're now getting into sort of, these are slightly, I think probably slightly more sought after. All of them are kind of readily available. So this was the Coke bottle vinyl. This was the Target variant. So as you know, in the US, they often do Target and Walmart exclusives. So in the US, this was called the Coke bottle version. In Australia, where I come from, it had a totally different hype sticker, and it's actually called the green bottle version. So if you're a true completist like I am, you got both. So you got both the different hype stickers. And then of the kind of day one standard issue vinyl releases, this one is the rarest and probably is getting the most money on the secondary market. And this is the Spotify first blue splatter vinyl. So it's clear blue splatter. So this was available as a Spotify first, and then about a month later, it was released for a very limited time on Elton's website, probably getting rid of older stock. So that's now going on the secondary market for a little bit more than all the others. Right. Then we get into the special editions. So we've looked at 5 variations of the vinyl. There's 2 more that I want to show you, which are the special editions. So Blood Records, the absolutely brilliant small run label in UK, did do a limited edition of 2000 version, which had a, I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a, this has got, actually, I'll show you one without the, this has got a foil, kind of cover on it. So that was part of the special edition. Apart from that, everything else is the same. And the vinyl was a exclusive color run. So it was, Blood Records obviously often does really special ones like the Liquid Filled or the Zoetropes, but this was purely just an exclusive Blood Records color run, which was, as I said, limited edition to 2000. Really available, easy to pick up on the secondary market, probably even easier than the blue splatter vinyl. But the really lovely thing about this is the foil cover. And then this was a very special release, limited to 200. I was able to pick it up kind of day one. It's since going for €400-500. This was a test pressing from Germany because most of the vinyl was pressed at Optimal. So this is a white label, and this is the only one that is black vinyl. So it's just white label, nothing written on it, in a polylined sleeve. It came in this numbered white jacket. So you can see there, I've got number 22 of 200. And it comes with a signed art card. And in this case, it actually is Elton, not EX. So that he's just taken a little bit more effort to sign them there, which is super lovely. This vinyl album sounds 100 times better than all the colored vinyl. Unfortunately, the vinyl, and I'm obviously a vinyl collector and a vinyl lover, if you know my channel, the vinyl is not great. And it's so disappointing being such a fan. And when I got this test pressing and I put this on, it was like, that's what it should sound like. It's heavyweight vinyl too. So massive difference having the test pressing to having the colored vinyl. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's closer to the stamper. Not sure, because theoretically colored vinyl shouldn't sound that much different from black. So that was the final 12-inch vinyl record. And I've got one very, very special vinyl left, which I'll show at the end of this video, which is so rare. I've only ever seen it for sale once. So stick around for that, but I'll just quickly go through the rest of the versions of Who Believes in Angels. So we're looking here at CD versions. So we've got the Europe released purple one, all similar to the vinyl. So that's a purple CD there with the same artwork as the purple vinyl. We've got the released in US and UK standard issue tricolor, exactly the same as the vinyl. The US signed Elton one with the hype sticker of signed by Elton with a card inside. And just to give you a look at what that looks like, there is the signed version of that. So that is a bunch of CD versions there. And then Australia randomly did its own pressing, and you can tell on the back it's got pressed in Australia right there. So that's quite a collector one for people who are completists with this album, of which there's probably about 10 in the world. That would be one worth knowing about. Right, and then they released these beautiful clamshell boxes, which was a special release, which you opened up like this, is a clamshell, and inside there's the hype sticker. And inside there were a bunch of these printed Polaroids, which is really lovely. I'll just show them. From the producer, Andrew Watt, had a Polaroid camera through the 3 weeks of recording this album, and he took a whole heap. So that's what that's from. And then a couple of little iron-on patches, kind of very cute, kind of 50s sports, baseball kind of vibe, I think. The replica of the album, but this one has a DVD and a CD, and they come in the kind of matching packaging of the purple, and the DVD has an extra song on it. So that was the clamshell box, which is a bit fun. Then they released the Blu-ray and Dolby Atmos DVD version. So this has got the Dolby Atmos mix, 5.1 mix, stereo 9624 full HD mix, and then the documentary Stories from the Edge of Creation song by song, and then the music video. You can see there, Blu-ray. So if you've got Dolby Atmos, worth hearing. And luckily enough, I did hear it in Dolby Atmos at my special early screening. And then there is some very special Japanese pressings, which are really exciting. So many of you would know in CD world in Japan, they have a special type of CD, which is different from the rest of the world, which is called SHM CD, which is supposedly a higher quality CD. So there are 3 different Japanese versions. There's the early release one, which came out on day one, with the typical obi strip, which is a bit fun. And this one came with a Japanese brochure of Who Believes in Angels. And it also came with a card, which is about the size of a 10-inch. And you can see they're not for sale written on there. So that all came together. And then they released the Japanese version of the English clamshell box set, which is exactly kind of the same contents. But this one came, and this is all Japanese printing. And this one came with a really random, don't know what this is, very calendar thing, plastic folder. I have no idea what this is. If you know, let me know in the comments. Don't know what it's for. The Japanese, Japan always puts goodies in your packaging, as you might know. So that's a printed, and that came with the clamshell box. And then finally, my favorite Japanese release was the Super EP version, which is this really fun, supersized packaging that looks like a mini LP. It's exactly the same kind of layout of a album. So it's got the gatefold and it's got the inserts. But this one, it comes with an obi strip. So it's the size of a 7-inch, essentially. They call it an EP. And this one comes with a kind of a transfer inside. It comes with this kind of a little white booklet with all the information, all in Japanese. And inside, on the first side, it comes with a complete small size replica of the vinyl booklet, as well as a cute little poster. That's on one side, and then the other side has a very well packaged CD and DVD insert on a card with these. It's got plastic holders there. So that's the Japanese special edition EP sized promo. And then finally, I want to show you, before I get to my very special item, the 3 cassettes they released. Novelty items, really, because the sound is nowhere near as good. They released it in purple, turquoise, and lime green, sea. What were these called? I'll just have a look at my notes. Sea green cassette and fluorescent cassette. I think that's the sea green and that's the fluorescent. And then obviously the purple. There you go. And then finally, the very special item. So as I said, in my whole time, sort of since hearing about this album coming out and up until now, I've only ever seen this for sale once. And this is the lead single, or one of the singles off the album, Never Too Late. It's a purple 7-inch. And then on the A side, it's got the song, Elton John and Brandi Carlile, Never Too Late, which was the title or the end credit track to the film that came out in November in 2024. And they released this as a promo item that went to journalists for the film only. And it came with a letter. And on the B side, it's got an interview with Brandi Carlile talking about the writing of the song and her presenting this song, the first song she'd ever written for her hero, Elton John. So it's an audio interview on the B side. And this song ends up on the album. It's one of the tracks on the album. So that's a very special item, super, super rare. And so there you have it. That is every single version of Who Believes in Angels by Brandi Carlile and Elton John. Let me know in the comments if you have collected every version of a random album before. It was turned out to be a super expensive exercise, and I probably won't do it too many times in my life, but very happy to have everything. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.